2014 is poised to be the warmest year on record. We will tell you why.
Janae Henry tackles LACC sports.
We will meet with entrepreneur and famous co-founder Kent Speakman on our Off the Red Line segment.
Ferguson under fire. We give you the latest.
This and much more coming up on Los Angeles Community Connection TV. Hello and welcome to Los Angeles Community Connection. I'm Sheila D.
And I'm Desary Valiencour. Could 2014 become the warmest year on record? This news may come as a surprise for those living in the eastern portion of the United States, which has had a cool year so far. But it turns out those eastern states were the only land area on the planet that experienced colder than average temperatures. This year's warmth is being partly attributed to the rise in water temperatures in our Indian and Central Pacific Oceans.
That's the most concerning, is the last 6 months of ocean temperature rise. Because changes in temperature in the ocean mean big changes in the climate.
This Pacific warmth is fueled by the El Niño effect that has struggled to develop for the large part of the year. El Niño years generally rank among the warmest record, showing how much global temperatures have risen due to increased greenhouse gases. El Niño still has a 65% chance of occurrence in 2014, pointing to just one more sign that 2014 may just be the hottest year we've ever seen.
BlackFridayProtest.org states that over 2,000 Walmart stores around the country will be missing at least some of their employees this Black Friday. Walmart is the country's biggest retailer, and if things go as planned for union organizers, this will be their biggest strike yet. It is expected to be unprecedented in the number of stores and strikers involved. As an incentive to strike, the union will compensate employees for any missed wages during the protests. The union hopes to put a dent in Walmart's business. Employees are asking for an increase in wages to $15 an hour and full-time work for any employee who desires it. Many advocates of a higher minimum wage continue to raise awareness, and people are beginning to take notice. Hopefully, Walmart shoppers are among them this Black Friday.
Janae Henry joins us to talk about athletics and their possible return to LACC.
Los Angeles City College has not had sports on campus since 2009, but change is on the horizon. Founded in 1929, LACC is one of the most diverse campuses in the 110 campus California community college systems. Los Angeles City College has an outstanding tradition of basketball achievements, including 26 conference championships, 2 state championships, and a national championship. Over the past 5 seasons, starting in 1999 to 2000, LACC has posted the best winning percentage in the most wins in college basketball. Due to deep cuts in the funding resulting from the state's current budget, Los Angeles City College has been forced to suspend 6 of its athletic teams.
There was more sports in LACC, just than this soccer class, like basketball, volleyball. I wish they let us use this facility to play soccer as well, not just for like people in the class.
Having more spirit by having cheerleaders and having pep rallies.
We're in the infant stage. I guess we're Cubs. Isn't it the name of the team, the Cubs? There's really no sports here. We don't have soccer. We don't have basketball, football. I think once upon a time we did, but no. Maybe budget, maybe lack of talent. Of course, I don't see any. I mean, it's a couple of guys I think that may have potentials, but I don't see any Paul Pierces or males, walking around on campus. They might be tall, but I don't think they're that talented. In any event, that's just my opinion.
Given the choice between offering classes or offering sports, they have chosen to offer the classes. It was a very difficult decision, but their primary decision was to educate the community. They intend to restore the students' sports programming, as soon as financially possible.
Don't let those bed bugs bite. The United States is in the midst of what has been called the worst bedbug outbreak since World War II. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency held a bedbug summit last year to try and figure out how to respond to the growing problem of these painful bites. Los Angeles City College's library and student union lounge have been hit hard by these pesky little creatures. Students report being bitten repeatedly while studying in these areas. The facilities management team at LACC has been busy attempting to exterminate these bugs. To find out what you can do to prevent these creatures from entering your home, make sure to visit the Los Angeles County Health Department website at publichealth.lacounty.gov/bedbugs. When we return, we will tell you all about California's plan to expand the Earthquake Awareness Alert Program,
as well as the latest from Ferguson. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hi, I'm Rishark, and I'm a feminist. Yes, I believe the collaboration between men and women is needed to ensure gender equality around the world. A look back at history illustrates that women have made great strides against the fight for equality, including women's suffrage, equality in the workplace, and equal opportunity in education. However, gender bias continues in the USA and around the world. Therefore, we are in need of a solidarity movement for gender equality. And that's when the He for She Foundation comes in. The He for She Foundation is a solidarity movement that brings in one half of humanity for the other half of humanity. Because gender equality is not only a women's issue, but a human rights issue that requires your participation. Please join us at our campaign, www.heforshe.org. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show.
Millions of dollars of damages have been reported in the Ferguson case following the decision not to indict police officer Darren Wilson, who shot and killed unarmed black teen Michael Brown. Opponents of the decision have stated that the fight for justice isn't over. The city has been in turmoil since the incident occurred over 3 months ago. Many business owners are angry that the National Guard wasn't called in sooner. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, U.S. attorneys prosecuted 162,000 cases in 2010. However, grand juries declined to return an indictment in only 11 of them. It is extremely rare for prosecutors to fail to win an indictment, but cases involving police shootings appear to be an exception.
California's earthquake early warning system is ready to broaden next year, after the 3rd International Conference on Earthquake Early Warning convened in Berkeley. Early warning is not a prediction of an earthquake, it's an actual instant notification an earthquake has started and it's on its way. Caltech and UC Berkeley and the U.S. Geological Survey are testing an earthquake early warning system that relies on sensors placed around the state. These sensors can detect the tiniest of vibrations. That level of sensitivity is important to help pinpoint exactly where a quake originates and how fast and far it is spreading. It's been over 2 years of testing on shoestring funding, but California is finally ready to roll out a plan based on Shake Alert, a beta-tested system that includes a smartphone app. However, more money is needed to install sensors across the state and for improved computer programming. This technology can help save lives and reduce the economic impact of earthquakes. The goal of this system is to warn people about earthquakes as soon as possible so they can react safely to the impending shake. Even just a few seconds of warning can make a considerable difference.
Adrian Rice recently visited a local shop in our Community Spotlight segment. How was it, Adrian?
It was amazing. Massimo's is a one-stop, family-friendly skate shop with a great atmosphere. Let's take a look. Living in Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure you have a big array of skate shops to go to. But why not go to a skate shop that incorporates art, culture, family, all in one? You should come right down to East Hollywood and come to Massimo's Skate Shop, where at Massimo's you'll get a great skateboard, family atmosphere, a dosing of help, and also Massimo himself will even do his best Michael Jackson impersonation for you.
It's not easy to have a skate shop, but it's more fun when you can incorporate yourself into what is already existed as skate.
world, and with being a family, I can bring in a little bit of my son, my husband, myself, and we just put art together and we try to make it something different, not just something you'll see in every skate shop.
What I really, really want to know is what exactly, you went to school for art, what exactly did you study in the art form?
I studied, I went to a fine art school, so you get to study a little bit fashion, a little bit sculpture and painting and drawing. So it's a multimedia, so that when I was studying, I focused on materials, how to use a material and how to use, like, for instance, paints or what's the best materials for different purposes. Massimo helps. He's very entertaining. So when I get busy, or when we get busy and we have more than one customer to handle, he will ask if he can perform for them. He likes to dance Michael Jackson. That's why he has long hair, and he'll put music on it.
And reporting live, this is Adrian Rice reporting for LACC in 30.
Teacher tenure became a hotly contested issue in the recent November election following a Los Angeles Superior Court ruling in Vergara versus California that found California's teacher tenure laws to be unconstitutional. While the ruling is being appealed, it has been a controversial issue in the midterm elections. The ruling comes from a lawsuit brought by 9 students that argued California's hiring and firing rules saddled schools with bad teachers who effectively could not be fired. On February 11, 2010, LA Weekly investigation found that the Los Angeles Unified School District spent $3.5 million trying to fire 7 underperforming teachers. On average, legal struggles to remove each teacher took 5 years and ended with 4 of the teachers being fired. 32 other underperforming teachers were given an average of $50,000 by the district to quit. A statewide poll conducted over the summer on teacher tenure seems to reflect that dissatisfaction. Researchers at Stanford and USC found that more than 60% of California voters support fewer teacher job protections. However, the election results do not support public opinion. Union-backed Democratic candidate Tom Torlakson won the race for California State Superintendent, as did incumbent governor and teachers union advocate Jerry Brown. Despite the election results, if the judge's decision stands, California would become the first state where teachers could be fired despite seniority.
Up next, we share a few information on the revitalization of downtown LA and Pershing Square.
And Jade Rikus interviews entrepreneur Kent Speakman about his new app, Famous. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Dr. Shayan Mustafa, geophysicist with the USGS. Earthquakes in California can strike anywhere, anytime, causing major damage to our structures, roads, and lives. Prepare to survive by practicing how to drop, cover, and hold on. Create an earthquake emergency kit that includes an emergency backpack with food and water, a radio, and a first aid kit. And last, but certainly not least, prepare a family disaster plan. Remember, don't be scared, be prepared. For more information, log on to www.ready.gov.
Welcome back for more exciting community news.
We've all heard about rescuing dogs and cats, but rescuing ducks? Sun Valley resident Carol Crysong is making a huge impact doing just that, giving domesticated ducks a second chance at life.
You know, I'm the only domestic duck rescue, I think, in the country that's gone 8 years, because it is such a labor of love. You really have to love this, but because I also love Los Angeles. I grew up here. And there is such an animal problem in Los Angeles, and I'm just part of it. And I really am trying to fix it. And even though I'm one lady doing this, I believe that I can start the talking about why there are so many domestic pets being dumped into wild areas, and why we have so much wildlife in our homes.
If you'd like to donate your time or help out with domestic duck rescue, contact luckyduckrescue.org.
For nearly 150 years, Pershing Square has been the public square in the center of Los Angeles. But a series of redesigns beginning in the 1950s have resulted in an unattractive park that doesn't fit the redeveloping downtown vision. In September, city officials announced $2 million in upgrades to the park, including the creation of a pair of children's playgrounds. Pershing Square Renew threw a launch party on Thursday, November 20th. In addition to food and art, members of the public discussed what they'd like to see in a revamped square. For example, the Restoration Society would like to see John Parkinson's 1910 design for the park come alive. While they applaud the civic drive to fix Pershing Square, they feel that it doesn't need another redesign.
According to a new 2014 study conducted by the Walk Free Foundation, nearly 36 million people are currently living in slave-like conditions. This number has risen from the 30 million slaves found in last year's report. According to the findings, modern slavery exists in all 167 countries covered in the report. India has the highest recorded number of human slaves, with 14 million.
Sometimes it's about natural disasters, economic problems, and so forth, and especially corruption and the lack of the rule of law creates a context in which people can be enslaved. So it's not a surprise that in many of the countries that we see large proportions of the population in slavery are also those countries that are beset by conflict, like Syria, and by other economic and environmental problems.
The study covered all areas of modern human slavery, including those born into slavery, those trafficked for sex work, people who are stuck in debt, and those who are used for forced labor. The countries most susceptible to modern slavery are unstable countries who may be at war or have other conflicts, such as social unrest or economic collapse. According to the study, Australia and the United States of America and Brazil are the three countries with the infrastructure that is best equipped to deal with the rising number of modern slaves.
Did you know that LACC has a Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society chapter on its campus? Phi Theta Kappa has more than 2 million members and 1,200 chapters located across the world. On November 20th, LACC's Phi Theta Kappa chapter inducted 23 new members. The ceremony to honor its inductees in the student union was full of regalia and honor. Each inductee received a gold candle, which was lit as they pledged their allegiance to the society. The society strives to foster a spirit of devotion to study and scholarly ideals amongst its members. The 23 students inducted fulfilled all the requirements for membership. Members are required to maintain a 3.5 GPA to be considered eligible.
Researchers in Switzerland have found that banking culture breeds dishonesty, and that when bankers are asked to talk about their jobs and then given an opportunity to cheat, they do so at a higher rate than people in other occupations. The researchers studied the behavior of 128 employees of large banking institutions and performed an experiment. Half of the employees were asked questions about their everyday lives, and the other half were asked about their lives as a banker. This questioning let the researchers know that it's not necessarily people who are dishonest or greedy, but the everyday culture of bank work that breeds these characteristics. Researchers conducted the same experiment using other jobs and found that even if people talk about their jobs prior to the coin toss, they didn't cheat, leading researchers to the conclusion that it isn't necessarily people who are corrupt, but the structures they work within.
Transportation officials were recently ordered by Mayor Eric Garcetti's office to tally up and refund each $73 parking ticket that was wrongly issued to people who parked on streets that had not been swept by city workers. The tickets were issued nearly a year after Garcetti set a new policy relaxing enforcement of no parking rules on streets during days when the city fails to stick to the posted street sweeping schedules. Angelenos can find out whether the parking rules on their streets are not in effect by visiting the website bss.lacity.org. However, some parking citation officers who were issuing tickets to cars parked on streets not being swept appeared this week not to be aware of the rule. Garcetti responded to the report saying, "It's wrong and everyone is going to get a refund." Let's hope the mayor keeps his word.
Every week we like to spend some time getting to know someone who inspires us. Jade Reich has invited entrepreneur and co-founder of the app Fame Us for an exclusive interview off of our segment Off the Red Line.
Hello and welcome to Off the Red Line. I'm your host Jade and I'm very excited to have Kent Speakman here in the studio with me today. Kent is a producer and co-founder of an app called Famous, which is like a fast-growing social network for everybody in the entertainment industry. So hello Kent, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi Jade, thanks for having me in. I'm really excited to chat.
It's a pleasure. So considering your background in producing, marketing, and digital media, your app Famous sounds like a great fit for you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I came from a digital marketing background agency side and then created my own and started off doing a lot of social media for different companies, brands and entertainment clients, and transitioned into developing apps. And we produced a bunch of apps for different companies, as well as co-founded Famous, which is what we're here to talk about today. So.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what Famous exactly is?
Well, Famous is a social network and mobile app to connect everybody in the entertainment industry. It's a place for models, actors, musicians, hair and makeup to go put their portfolio up. So all their photography, videos, songs, things like that, they can come in and create a portfolio that has all of those on it, as well as connect with other users, post jobs, apply for castings, share stuff to the news feed, and generally just build the community around themselves for the things that they want to work on or are working on.
Where did the idea come from?
My business partner Jason actually came up with the idea, and he was sitting around with a couple of other of our partners and trying to come up with a cool idea. And it started off with the idea to find to create an app that would allow musicians to connect and find musicians in a certain area. So if you're looking for a drummer in Orange County, you could use an app like this to do that. And then from there, we grew the idea out to encompass the entire entertainment industry.
Perfect. What are the goals for the company in the future?
Well, the goals right now have been to create a solid platform that works for everybody and is really easy to use, and we've done that for the iPhone. So the next goal is to build that out on the Android version as well as web. And the second piece to that is creating success stories for our users. So actually finding them work and getting them jobs and the things that we've set out to do.
Do you have a great success story to share with us?
Yeah, we've actually had a couple. We've had, there was a girl in Michigan that went out for, we'd posted the casting call for the Batman versus Superman movie, and she saw it on the app. We saw her sharing her photos of the experience in the casting line in the news feed, and then a couple weeks later she booked the role, and it was through the app. And we've had a few stories like that. That's probably the biggest one. Photographer from Paris who's come over and he's started shooting everything and booked a bunch of stuff with Harley Davidson, all through the relationships that he created through the app and some of our live events that we do as well.
That's great. So why would more established users use the app Famous?
For people that are already successful in their careers or have booked a bunch of stuff, or maybe they're a lead on a TV show, it's a great tool to use to get other influencers within the entertainment industry to tune in to what they're working on, or to become aware of their movie premieres, that type of thing. So for them, it's just another tool to communicate with their fans. And because we've integrated with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, and Vimeo, it's a platform where they can go to one place and then share content everywhere and create that awareness for them.
Okay, do you want to talk about why it is so important for social apps like Famous to have live events like mixers?
Yeah, well, we find that it's a great place to build those relationships in the real world. So either the relationships start through a networking event and you connect with people and then follow up with them, and then you're able to see all of their work on Famous, or you meet people on the app and then you're able to connect with them in real life and then start to have further discussions. So.
Okay, and what's coming up next for Famous? What's the next step?
Well, we're pretty excited. We're actually just closing our first outside financing round and using that to finish building out the Android version as well as the web, and then create some more exciting marketing opportunities, as well as roll out a bunch of future features that'll be great for the users that we haven't added into the app yet.
Sounds great. What's your website? How can people get in contact with that?
It's famous.me, so it's FAMEUS.me, and you can also find us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, Kent. It was a pleasure having you and hearing about your app, Famous. And thank you for tuning in to After Red Line. After the break, we have some more news from Los Angeles Community Connection. Stay tuned.
Domestic violence doesn't know anything about discrimination. It could affect anyone regardless of age, race, gender, or sexual orientation.
Only in the U.S., 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men suffer from domestic violence, and more than 10 million people are affected each year.
Domestic violence doesn't stop at physical violence. It includes sexual assault, intimidation, and emotional abuse.
Together, we can't stop domestic violence. A better world starts from home.
If you or someone you know is going through this, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
Or you can also visit the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence website at www.ncadv.org for more information.
Because love shouldn't hurt. That was better.
Los Angeles Community Connection strives to give a voice to all members of our community.
Kat Ayala joins us this week to share her opinion on immigration reform.
The immigration reform bill passed recently by President Obama has millions of residents around the U.S. and rejoice. The bill is beneficial to immigrant families who have been living in the United States since the year of 2010. This reform for millions of families brings relief of living out of fear and being deported. For young citizens, it means that their families won't be pulled apart. For my family, it means that both my stepdad and grandfather will be able to qualify for legal status and not being feared of being deported. But be careful of potential scammers. The process and paperwork does not cost more than $500. If organizations charge more than that, it will be a potential scam. Para muchas familias que viven en miedo de ser deportados, esta reforma significa que pueden cualificar para papeles. La mayoría son familias latinas, pero no solo es para la población de familias latinas, sino también familias inmigrantes de diferentes razas que han vivido en los Estados Unidos desde el año 2010. Pero tenga cuidado porque la aplicación y papeleo para este proceso no cuesta más de $500. Si alguna organización cobra más de esto, puede ser una estafa.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Kat. And don't forget to follow LACC TV on Facebook at LACC TV and on Twitter at LACC TV_. Thank you. I'm Sheila D.
And I'm Desary Valiencour, signing off for Los Angeles Community Connection.